Let's talk about sex, or rather the lack of it. We're in the middle of a drought and our hectic lifestyles are to blame. Too many women are overworked, overtired and totally oversexed. And you know what that means. Hordes of frisky and frustrated men. Seriously though, this lack of passion is causing wider problems, from unhappiness all the way through to misery and divorce. So what's the answer? Well, the most radical suggestion is for women to just do it, whether they're in the mood or not. Fortunately though, there are other ways to break the drought and save your relationship. It's a cold and miserable night in the heart of Sydney, but inside the temperature is rising.
Mine is. Someone's tying me up.
I think if you ask most people, would you prefer to have a crappy sex life? Would you prefer to have a great sex life? They'd choose the latter.
There was a little bit of frustration, I guess, and enough for us to say, you know what, let's do something. Let's make a change. Let's not have mediocre. Let's have fabulous. You know, our life's great. Let's have a great sex life.
Tell me when was the last time we were truly satisfied?
But sadly, for many, the new sex revolution is there is no sex. And behind the curtains, in the battle of the bedrooms, it's women who are saying no.
Sometimes for me, it's just like, you know, I've got to drop the kids off at school, make lunch, you know, feed Charlie, have sex with my husband. You know, it's kind of just another thing on the list for me.
I just check the diary and see if my name's in it for that day.
How often is it in it?
Not often enough.
No wonder sex is the last thing on Amanda's mind.
Sometimes it's just a matter of life just getting in the way, and there is no time for us in our relationship.
There are times when we go to bed and the heart's willing and I just find that she's asleep next to me. And I know it's not worth tapping her on the shoulder, so yeah, I let sleeping babies wives lie.
So is it a bit like Oliver Twist? Please, may I have some more? Is it?
And I say please.
Do we need a Band-Aid? Yeah.
As for many women, kids and a hectic life have changed Amanda's libido and priorities, where sex rarely rates.
But what are men supposed to do?
Yeah, I know. I totally agree with you about that.
But for many men, no matter the daily grind, sex is still at the top of their
I
list.
think women naturally have a much lower libido.
Missing out, according to sex counsellor and commentator Bettina Arndt, is leaving them deeply unhappy and bewildered.
Well, I just don't think women get it. Mature women just don't get it, Bettina. They just don't understand.
Would you ever think if I spend a lot of money on her, she's going to feel more guilty and more likely to give in?
Definitely.
Bettina Arndt knows sex. She's been talking about it all her life. and has just spent 18 months delving into the bedrooms of Australian couples.
It's a real issue, of course, this idea that if I don't have any desire for sex, sex shouldn't happen.
Bettina found that almost half were deeply unsatisfied with their sex lives. She says it's women and their biology who should shoulder most of the blame.
What's fascinating is we know that there's a different brain chemistry associated with being in love. Most of us last 6 months to 2 years, that particular phase. And then you're stuck with this fragile libido. And it's a real problem because men are much more likely to have an eternal flame, a libido that goes on and on and on. It's one of the great sadnesses for men.
I felt like I knew she was avoiding it. But as a husband, you can't say to your wife, you're avoiding it, sort it out. You can't do that.
Nathan and Donna Costello look to be a couple very much in love.
I still think his chariots fire.
Young, good-looking and totally in sync with one another until it comes to the bedroom. Brought up a strict Catholic, Donna couldn't enjoy sex without suffering enormous guilt. What's been going on in the bedroom?
No, nothing would be
Sometimes very
the
little,
obvious
unfortunately.
answer for that.
For how long?
I was sort of off and on really for the next, 8 years, 9 years of our relationship. It really, there were periods of time there where there was no intimacy or anything at all.
What did you think was going on?
It was hard to sort of understand. And I'd like to think of myself as pretty understanding, but I really struggled with it for a while, and it felt like rejection, and it didn't make sense. I knew that we had love.
How much do you value your time together after 9 years of being together?
It's
Lots.
it's the most important thing. If we don't
Nathan tried everything, but all it did was add pressure to the relationship.
Was sex something you dreaded?
Yeah, it was something that I just avoided at all costs.
What were some of the excuses you came up with?
Trying to go to bed first and fall asleep, or pretend I was asleep, or, get out of it in any way I could.
And it developed into a situation where I felt like I was a friend, and a really good friend. But, I found myself becoming attracted to other women.
Were you prepared to walk?
Yeah, I'd found a place to move into, and was supposed to move, so, yeah.
It wasn't just the threat of Nathan leaving. I think for the first time I really saw that I was hurting him. I could see that I needed to change what was going on because I could not keep doing this to the person that I loved.
How can you expect a man to be faithful to you for 30, 40 years when you are giving him no sex or doling out sex very reluctantly?
It's just you and me.
It's the eternal stereotype. Men always want sex. Women rarely do. Incredibly, Bettina Arndt's solution is straight out of the Dark Ages. It doesn't matter whether they're in the mood. To keep their men happy, women like Amanda and Donna should just do it.
We were taught we have a right to say no to sex, as we do, of course. But what many women don't realise is you don't necessarily need to feel like having sex in order to enjoy it.
Don't you think it's a really insulting message,
Not
not
at
just
all.
to women but also to men?
Well, it applies to men too. I mean, I see men
But
who are rejecting.
Isn't it insulting to the man to say, look, I don't feel like having sex with you, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to fake it.
No, it's nothing to do with faking it.
It is, of course, it's
no,
faking
no,
it.
No, it's not faking it.
It's faking an interest, of course it is.
No, it's not faking interest. It's saying I have no interest at the moment, but I know once we start, I will enjoy it.
I might enjoy it.
Well, I might enjoy it. If I don't start getting aroused, if I don't get into this, I'll just give you pleasure.
Okay, so you're having sex without desire. Your partner, one would assume, would know it. And doesn't that build resentment in both?
There's nothing wrong with a charity bonk here or there.
As a bloke, do you agree with that or do you find it insulting?
It's demeaning. Why is she doing it? Like she's doing it solely because I want it. I don't get anything out of that. There's nothing in it for me. It's just a physical thing.
And Jeremy and Jan Taylor think there's a better way. After 25 years together, they know how kids, career and complacency can mess with one's sex life. But they found, by working on their emotional connection, they've renewed their physical attraction to one another.
What happened to the emotional connection? Why wasn't that there?
I think from my point of view, I was too distracted with other stuff, basically, and I didn't put the effort or energy into the relationship and into Jan that I should have and that she deserved. And she probably did the same thing.
So you got the emotional side right and she wanted more sex.
And you know what? And then we came together and look where we are now.
So is it really that simple?
Yeah. Well, for us it was, at least anyway.
Yeah. Getting right up close, Jan. This is not a time to be shy.
Love is definitely back in the air for Jan and Jeremy.
Again, so feeling your bellies against each other and breathing in, breathing up from your base.
Every day and night, they work on their relationship to keep in tune with one another.
When you feel ready to let go and just enjoy that exhale, letting the energy flow and connecting with each other and enjoying the moment. Yes.
They've taken up a very spicy form of yoga, tantric sex. So how is your libido these days?
Really good.
It's probably back at the same level as I was when I was young. I'm really interested in it. I really want... sex is an important part in my life and in our relationship.
The other things you can do is for you, through the day, to focus on sex.
Now you're talking.
Wow.
Youngsters Nathan and Donna have opted for a more conventional approach, couples counselling. It's working, though there's still plenty of homework to do.
To actually get over that initial fear of initiating. Yep, you've been able to do that?
No.
That's the...
One would hope.
Just hang in there, guys. Hang in
Yes.
there.
Only 17 years and 3 months to go.
And you have found every crevice on that person's body that you can.
Back in Sydney, our luscious lovers are winding down for the night.
And then you can move all the way through the body until they're completely unfolded. Imagine they're a flower.
By taking some time, they've learnt perhaps the most important message of all. Lasting passion only comes with great love.
Just being able to come away for the night, it gives me a chance to realise that I'm married to the woman of my dreams.
Hello, I'm Tom Steinfort. Thank you for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minutes segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes, which are on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.